So, guys, do you want to kick us off, or do you want to talk about the weather a little bit, or are you waiting for any more people to come in?
No, if you want to, I know you're gonna laugh now when I say this, Kenyon, but if you want to crack on,
Crack on.
we'll get the show on the road.
You know, I use that term even just on my daily life. I've adopted that. I don't know if that we call that cultural appropriation, but
Yeah,
yeah, right. But you know, I've got some Welsh blood in my veins, so I'll use it. How's that?
brilliant.
Okay, all right. We'll crack on. Well, welcome. I'm glad that everybody is here, and we're glad that you thought enough about ladder safety to take the time. We always appreciate our partnership with TB Davies and both Chris and Jay and their leadership, their organization in putting this together. So thank you guys. And my name's Kenyon. I'm going to be your guest instructor for the next few minutes, and we're going to teach you a ladder safety workshop. Just a caution that what we talk about today is important, some best practices, some safety reminders, but to be completely certified, we would encourage you to go to the Ladder Association's website. There is further training there for you to be completely certified. So just so that we're all clear, if you're not familiar, here's the laddersociation.org.uk, and down at the bottom of their landing page, you can see that those links will take you to some other courses. All right. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, of course, you just turn to the guys at TB Davies and they can help you with any of that. Okay, let me just also make some introductions that yes, we're here in the States. You can tell by my accent that I just completely flat American accent, that it's 8 a.m. here in Utah. We are in the state of Utah, about an hour south of Salt Lake City, and beautiful part of the country if you've ever gotten a chance to come out and visit our national parks. Zion National Park is about 4 hours away from where we are in Springville. This is where Little Giant is headquartered. We've been around since 1972, which always surprises people. They don't know that we've been around for as long as we have. And inside our building, we also built these beautiful studios. Look how cool this is. This backdrop that allows us to teach ladder workshops all over the country, all over the world. It's always impressive. In fact, 43 countries outside of the US and counting. Of course, I think that we do more in the UK, again, through the leadership of TB Davies and Little Giant UK. Behind the scenes, and my job is to be in front of the camera, and I actually really enjoy what I do. But we've got Paxton, and most of the credit of this presentation, you'll see that Paxton's actually making all of these edits, all of these transitions from different camera angles, the B-roll, the animation, everything that makes this really a lively, pleasant presentation belongs to Paxton. And you can see that he has a lot of buttons, right? A lot of buttons to keep track of. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Ladder safety. Why do we teach ladder safety? When you signed up to take this course, why was ladder safety top of mind? Why was it something that was important for you to spend 45 minutes on a Wednesday afternoon? Why was it important to you? Often we think of ladders as a pretty simple tool because we've been climbing ladders since we were, 2 years old? You're 3 years old, you're at the playground, and it's a pretty simple tool. We've been climbing ladders almost our entire lives. So you think, how do people get ladders wrong? If it's been part of your life, almost, since the time you could walk, how do people get ladders wrong? They do. I'll tell you, people get ladders wrong on a regular basis. And we can assume that by the way these gentlemen are dressed, this picture always cracks me up. By the way these guys are dressed, we can assume that they have the right tool for the job, right? If they thought to put on safety vests, they probably have an 8-tread ladder somewhere, right? So they could have been safe, they've just chosen to take a risk. They've chosen to cut a corner. So a big part of our message today is it's not just what you know, right? It's what we do. So, and here's a very, I love this picture here. What's the conversation that even leads to this moment? And do you see where this gentleman, the guy in the white T-shirt, do you see what he's wearing on his feet? There's a lot going wrong.
This is
right? Just
definitely America, Kenyon.
just dirty socks. And I think that's Oklahoma. I'm looking at the skyline. I think it's either Texas or Oklahoma. That's my guess. And when we do these safety presentations to those states, they don't always appreciate that I call them out, but I think it is. And those guys they're self-employed. They're just trying to get through the day, right? They just don't have the right knowledge. Obviously, they may not even have the right tool for the job. Some of what I'm going to share today also refers to our Occupational Safety and Health Administration here in the United States, our governing body over occupational safety. We refer to as OSHA, O-S-H-A. And they keep track of the number of violations that they see out on the work site. And surprisingly, 4 of the top 10 reasons that they write violations are related to working at heights. Almost half of the reasons that they write violations are because people aren't as safe as they should be related to working at heights. And more important than the violations are the fatalities. Look at these statistics. According to OSHA, look at number 1 compared to number 3. According to OSHA, we are 5 times more likely to be killed on the job site working at heights than we are by electricity. And honestly, I believe that it's because we become complacent, because we think of ladders as just a simple tool that we've been using almost our entire lives, and we get lazy, we get complacent when we work at heights. I mean, when you work around electricity, you're very cautious, because if you get electricity wrong, some of those damages can be very quick and very permanent. But when it comes to ladders, we can justify being a little bit unsafe, right? But what we're here to do is to talk about 4 major bullet points of ladder safety. What we're going to cover today, in the short time that we're together, if you're taking notes, maybe you're going to pass this information on to other employees, some of your coworkers. But the chapter headings for today will be that we're choosing the right ladder for the job. We're also going to talk about inspection, why inspection is important, how we inspect ladders, also that we set ladders correctly, and that we climb ladders safely. Okay, ready? Let's crack on. Chapter number 1, choosing the right ladder for the job. Look at this, production value. Choosing the right ladder for the job should go without saying that we want you to choose a ladder, something that's designed to be stood upon. It does get tempting to stand on things that you think are closer, things that you think might be more convenient, lighter, right? A chair that's on wheels, that's more convenient. It's not safe, but it might be closer. It might be more convenient. Buckets and other items. I've seen people stand on bundles of material and the top of dumpsters, so a table. So choose a ladder. Choose something that's designed to be stood upon. And when you're choosing the right ladder for the job, let's make sure it's the right material. Ladders come in different materials. Metal ladders, they could be steel, they could be aluminum. It's always a tongue twister for me. Aluminum. Wood. Wood is a good product because it is non-conductive, right? Metal ladders are great, but not appropriate if you're working around electricity. So then we would choose a material that's non-conductive, and that be wood or fiberglass. And fiberglass, or glass fiber, or GRP, however you call that product, it's non-conductive, it's light, and it will last longer than a wood ladder will, okay? So usually a professional in 2023, fiberglass, glass fiber, GRP, that's usually the choice for most professionals. So choose the right material that's appropriate for the work that you're doing. Choose the right weight rating. And the EN standard has made that pretty easy to either call it safe or unsafe, right? That 150 kg rating. Did you know that ladders are actually tested at a 4-to-1 safety factor? So even though that ladder is rated for 150 kg, it's actually been tested at 600 kg. Pretty amazing. I mean, that sounds like that should be enough to cover most people. But make sure that you account for your footwear. If you're wearing steel-toed boots, if you're wearing 2 or 3 layers of clothing, every tool, every piece of equipment that you have on your ladder. It's not just the weight that's on your driver's license. It's everything that's on the ladder. Like a poor Ted. And also everyone that's on the ladder. We also need to think of our coworkers, etc. So anyway, that 150 kg rating, make sure that you're staying within. If you have any outdated ladders that don't meet that high standard, you need to take those out of service. Make sure that your ladders have that 150 kg weight capacity. Okay. Also, make sure you're choosing the right style of ladders. Ladders come in different styles for different purposes. Step ladders or treads, A-frame ladders, I call them extension ladders, have a purpose for upper landings or to gain access to roof lines. Multi-purpose ladders, or what we call an articulating or multi-purpose ladder. Little Giant invented that category 50 years ago in the early 70s, that multi-purpose, and we do that in both aluminum and in fiberglass is the multi-purpose series. So make sure you're choosing the right style, and safety professionals are very clear about that in the United States. Our Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, says that ladders are only to be used for the purpose for which they were designed, right? Only use ladders for their intended purpose or their intended design. Now, what does that mean? Have you ever seen somebody take a risk? They take a traditional step ladder, they'll close it, and then they'll try to use it as an extension ladder, just a short 6-foot extension ladder, right? But this is a violation of any safety protocol. This is not a good idea because it wasn't designed for that purpose. Now, there is innovation in the marketplace, right? And the King Combo is one of those ladders where the back stiles, these legs, can be unlocked. This hinge system brings those back legs into a closed, usable position. So with the back legs locked into position with the top cap with a skid resistant pad, now I can lean it against those walls, and it rotates because a lot of our jobs might take us into a corner or onto a corner. So now we have a lot of safety by the design of the product. So safety through the innovation. So make sure that you're only using a ladder for its intended purpose. And the manufacturer is very clear on the labels or in the instructions of how or how you should be using that product. So follow the manufacturer's guidelines, do not take risks, use a ladder for its intended design. Also, choose the right size. This might be review for most people here, but when we're using a 6-tread ladder, we're not standing up here on that top cap. In fact, we're not even standing on the very top rung. We're standing down here on that 4th tread or on that 4th step for safety. So on a 6-foot step ladder, we're standing at 4 feet, and with an average sized person, that means that your working height is about 10 to 10.5 feet. So if I have an application at 12 feet, then this wouldn't be the right size ladder. I would need to choose to put that 6-tread ladder away and go find the 8-foot or the 8-tread step ladder, so that I'm standing on that rung that I should be. So again, never stand on the top rung. Don't ever stand on the top cap. Also, extension ladders. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. Let me teach you about this. Extension ladders, a 20-foot extension ladder is not 20 feet long. It's made out of 2 10-foot sections, or what you might call a double 10. So we have a 10-foot base section, and that's what stays on the ground or the floor. Then we have the 10-foot fly section. And once we slide those sections together, a 20-foot ladder is really only 17 feet long, because there's a meter or 3 feet of that ladder that's going to overlap. And longer ladders will overlap even more than that, okay? So we need to account for the overlap of the material that's not always accounted for on the side or on the label of that ladder. So we need to do that math, account for that overlap. Also the overlap over the roof line or over the upper landing, so that we can transition from the ladder onto the upper landing safely. We need to have something to hold on to. So every safety professional recommends, and we would recommend, that you have at least 3 feet of that ladder sticking above that roof line so that we can make that transition safely, right? You need something to hold on to. Okay. And just a caution again, don't ever stand where you shouldn't. If a ladder's not tall enough, don't stand on top rungs, don't stand on guardrails or cross members of a ladder. If you have your foot on a step ladder and a foot on something else, you are doing something wrong. Where do you think this picture was taken? I don't. Probably the US, I would guess. I don't know. Okay. Also, don't stack ladders on top of anything else. If a ladder, again, isn't tall enough, the feet of the ladder need to be on the ground. Don't put ladders up on top of tables or even other ladders. This is a practice called lashing, where people tie ladders together with a rope or wire. And certainly, you'd never stack employees on top of each other either. Okay. Just something to make you smile, that's all. Okay, so that's part of choosing the right ladder for the job. So in review, again, that's choosing the right material, the right weight rating, the right style, and the right size. Pretty easy, okay? Paxton, looks like one more person is coming into our training today. No, Paxton's focused. He's got his hands full of everything. Thank you, sir. Okay. Let's move on to chapter number 2, and this is going to be inspection. Let's talk about inspection and why inspection is so important. We said that a ladder is safe if it has that label or that weight rating, 150 kg, and again, it's tested for 4 times that, which sounds like that would be enough. If the manufacturer has tested it at 600 kg, it should be enough and safe enough for you to use. But if part of the ladder's broken, if part of the ladder's missing or compromised, how much does a broken ladder hold? We don't know, right? You don't know, I don't know. So we don't want to just guess at a ladder's condition. We want to assess a ladder's condition, and the only way that you can do that is through inspection. We want to inspect a ladder, and does everybody know how often we're supposed to inspect ladders? It's actually before each initial use. Before you use a ladder at the beginning of the day or the beginning of the time that you've used that particular ladder, we need to look the ladder over. And this just takes a couple of minutes to look a ladder over and to inspect it. And if you're not familiar, there's a great app that we found. You can download this on a device, maybe your phone or a tablet. So if you're teaching ladder safety or have your own workshop with your employees, put this app on your phone. This is developed by NIOSH. NIOSH is the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. There are different applications or different parts of this app, but this is what the icon looks like. So you can go out to your favorite app store and download that. It's a free download, NIOSH. Okay, so let's just walk through an inspection. What do we look for and why do we look for it? Let's just start at the bottom. The feet of a ladder. The feet down the bottom, they're like the tires that are on your vehicle, right? They need to be present. You would never drive your car with missing tires, so don't drive a ladder with missing feet. Or if those feet are bald or missing altogether, maybe feet are broken. So we need to replace those feet when the time comes. And one real benefit to some Little Giant equipment, we make field replaceable feet. And what does that mean? It means that with the tools that you already have right there on the job site, you can swap those feet out if and when that time comes. So field replaceable feet, it's kind of a big deal. Also the side rails of a ladder. Especially for glass fiber or GRP material. Have you ever seen how glass fiber is made? There's a lot going on with the mat, the veil, the resins, that glass reinforced plastic. This is our process here in the States of how we make fiberglass. So you can see that there's a lot going on inside those strands, and it's all baked inside that resin or that reinforced plastic. So if that side rail is broken or compromised in any way, again, we don't know how much a broken ladder holds. And the rule of thumb here is that if you can feel the fibers on your fingers, so make that note, if you can feel the fibers on your fingers, we need to take that ladder out of service, okay? Because we don't know where that weak point is. It's been stressed, and it's not likely not safe for you to use. So also, fiberglass is susceptible to what we call fiber bloom. If you've all seen old glass fiber, wait for it, ready? There's the fiber bloom. Did you see what we did there? Paxton, maybe you need to replay that one more time, just so that everybody watch. Oh, there it is. Okay. Everybody has seen old fiberglass or glass fiber where it starts to get aged, gets that chalky white appearance. What you're actually seeing is the deterioration of that material. It's where the weather, the rain, the environment has taken its toll on that glass fiber, and the fibers are now coming to the surface. That's why it looks chalky and white. You're actually seeing those fibers come to the surface. And it's not so much that you're going to get slivers in your fingers, right? You're tough Brits, you can handle that. What you can't handle though is when the next time it rains, now those fibers have wicked moisture, and that ladder is not non-conductive anymore, right? If it has moisture in those fibers, that ladder is not non-conductive. So just be aware during your inspections, if you see that chalky white appearance, we call that fiber bloom. It's a safety concern, okay? Also, the rungs of a ladder, or the treads, the steps, we want to inspect those. We want to make sure that they're clean. We want to make sure that they're free from damage, creases, cracks, dings, etc. At some point, you need to make a judgment call whether that ladder is safe or not. Eventually, a crease becomes a crack, and it becomes something more. So you need to make that decision. Fasteners on a ladder, make sure that they're tight. Some might be rivets, might be nuts and bolts, might even just be a simple fastener. Make sure that they're tight and in good working order. Some of those fasteners are going to be obviously specific to that particular product. And one unsafe way to loosen fasteners up, just a caution here, that we never shift or move our weight. We don't walk ladders. Have you ever seen somebody do this? This looks like it might be in Europe somewhere. Right? I'm just looking around at this
yeah, I think
show.
that's Britain.
Yeah, it might be. Now, it does keep your boots dry when the sewer's back up, right? But we never shift or move your weight when you're occupying a ladder. Not only is it unsafe, but it will loosen those fasteners up. It actually makes the ladder even worse with those fasteners. So make sure that the fasteners are tight and doing the job that the manufacturer put them on that product to do. Also, the related accessories. And related accessories just means the components. Some ladders are going to have spreader bars or braces. Some ladders will have hinge systems. Some step ladders have top caps, and a lot of extension ladders have rope and pulley systems. So really it's just the components that are specific to that particular product. And some components just need to be cleaned and lubricated. Some just need to be maintained or even replaced. So make sure that you're looking over those components, that they're acting or working the way that the manufacturer designed them. All right. And then, of course, the labels. Labels are more important than a lot of us realize, but they need to be inspected. They tell us about the highest standing surface, the highest weight ratings, etc. So make sure that those labels are intact, that they're legible. So if those labels are torn, if they're faded or missing altogether, this can also be cause for a a violation of a safety officer. So make sure that those are intact. And if you're missing those labels, then you just simply reach out to the guys at TB Davies, and most manufacturers are pretty good about making those labels available to you. So replace labels when that time comes. And then when a ladder has finally served its purpose, when it's time to destroy a ladder, we would recommend that you cut ladders up vertically. This is going to be easier on your saw blades than going through that more abrasive fiberglass, and it's going to cut the ladder into unclimbable sections. You don't want sections of your ladder inside the dumpster, and then after hours somebody thinks that that section is like a small step stool or something. They take it home, and then accidents happen. There's a lot of liability and that kind of stuff. So we would recommend that you cut ladders up vertically, and then also just a caution that you don't give your old ladders to your employees. I know you're just trying to be nice, but if a ladder is not safe enough for you to use on the job, don't give it to somebody to take home to do their Christmas lights or something like that. You don't need that kind of liability. Okay, so that's all your inspection, and through your daily inspection, you will eliminate that piece of equipment as a potential cause of an accident. Okay, the ladder needs to be in good condition. All right, chapter number 3. This is our setup. And our setup is extremely important because we're talking about the ground, we're talking about our environment, we're talking about the angle that we're going to use. So we would recommend that you put ladders on ground that's both firm and level. No creativity, right? We don't get creative in our setups. Ladders need to be on level surfaces unless we secure them in place. There's no amount of lumber or other ladders, telephone books that are going to be a good idea. And some of this is just simply having the right tool for the job, right? If you need to work in a staircase, just get the ladder that's designed to work in the staircase. Again, Little Giant invented that velocity ladder available at TB Davies that works in the staircase. Okay, so make sure that you have ladders on firm level ground. In fact, if you're off by just a little bit, it can affect a small step ladder, but it can also affect an extension ladder quite a bit. This might surprise you that if a 28-foot extension ladder is off by just 1 inch at the bottom, the top of that ladder is off by 19 inches. And it's really hard to do safe work when your ladder's not straight up and down. So make sure that we have ladders on firm level ground, and if not, then we secure the ladder in place. And there are job-built solutions. There are ways that you can stake the ladder off at the bottom if you're on softer surfaces. And there are accessories that will help you get that done safely. We're also going to tie the ladder off at the top. So firm level ground is the standard, but if we're in a tricky situation, then we would secure the ladder at the top or secure the ladder secure the ladder at the bottom. Okay. We also want to make sure if you're not, and securing the ladder at the bottom, is that we're going to never put rocks and bricks underneath a product. It does get tempting. Again, we're on an unlevel surface, and we often choose to put rocks and pieces of wood. We would prefer that you dig out the high side, right? We don't block up the low side. We would dig out the high side, and then, of course, secure the ladder in place if you're in these kind of extreme situations. Or, again, if you have the right tool for the job, there are ladders with built-in levelers. This is one that we have in the States. Or if you had that Conquest in the GRP, that's something that would have those outriggers, similar to the one that you see over my shoulder against the brick. In fact, Paxton, how quickly could you find some B-roll on that Conquest GRP, the one that's back here leaning against the brick? So some of this is having the right tool for the job, because if I'm prepared with the right product, then I can create that firm level surface just by the design of that piece of equipment. Pretty smart. So this is our Conquest All-Terrain. That's one of the products available at TB Davies. Okay, so set the ladder up correctly. That also includes the correct angle. Whether we're using an extension ladder or we're using a multi-purpose ladder like either the Conquest, All-Terrain, or the King Combo that I have in my hands, we never want to set a ladder up that's too steep because it may become top-heavy and come backwards. We don't want to set a ladder up too shallow because the feet may slide out from underneath us. So we would always recommend that you have a ladder set up at the 4-to-1 ratio. For every 4 feet that we're going up, the bottom of the ladder needs to be 1 foot away from the leaning surface. It works out to be a 75-degree angle. So there's a little bit of a math problem here. 4-to-1 ratio or a 75-degree angle. A really easy way for you to calibrate that 75 degrees is what we refer to as the firefighter's rule. Firefighters are taught, because they don't have a lot of time when they get called out to an emergency, so the way they are taught to set a ladder up at the correct angle is that if you put the toe of your boot, just put your toe at the bottom of the ladder, and then at your shoulder height, you should be able to reach out and touch or cover the rung that's at your shoulder height. And that trick works if you're 6'5" or 4'10", right? Because your arms are usually in relationship to how tall you are. Usually. Sometimes they're not. And that's our dad joke, right? Becky, did you get that one? It's funny, right? Dad joke. Okay, 4-to-1 ratio. The same is true when you're using a step ladder or an A-frame, is that firefighter's rule still comes into contact. We don't really think about it, but a step ladder is also built at that 75 degrees. Okay. Also, setting ladders up includes our environment. We need to be aware of our surroundings. That includes weather, days where the wind blows too strong, maybe the rain is so extreme that it wouldn't be safe for us to use a ladder when the weather gets extreme that way. Also, we need to be aware of our surroundings, including traffic, foot traffic, vehicle traffic. Depending on where we're working, it might be appropriate for us to put out traffic cones or caution tape to insulate or isolate our work area so that no one or no thing will bump into us when we're up working at heights. Okay? This also includes carrying ladders. Transportation, believe it or not, this is the #1 cause of injury because of ladders. We often think of people being hurt because they fall from a ladder. The #1 cause of injury is the way we carry a ladder. A ladder's way too much. They're heavy, they're bulky. We've got these big American trucks that we pull muscles or lower back strain and sprain. So we want you to be cautious when you're carrying ladders. We refer to these injuries as overexertion, and this just means the strain and sprain injuries, lower backs, rotator cuffs, add up to be $13.7 billion worth of lost time injury or insurance claims. So make sure that not only are you cautious, but you teach your people, the next time you talk to them about ladder safety, we want to make sure that you're carrying ladders with intention. Carry ladders with safety in mind. So carry lighter equipment. Little Giant makes some of the lightest extension ladders in the world. Carry ladders with 2 hands when 2 hands are available. Carry ladders with 2 people if and when 2 people are available. I'm actually a fan of carrying a ladder on my shoulder. If a load is more than about 35 pounds, I will carry it on my shoulder this way. Because if for any reason this gentleman should misstep, right? If he should stumble over the curb, it would be easier for him to let that ladder fall to the ground. Then he's not pulled into an accident. So again, carry ladders with intention. Carry ladders. Just remember statistically, that is the #1 cause of lost time injury or insurance claim. And then be aware of your surroundings. It was funny in the black and white movies when Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton were doing this, but this stuff still happens on job sites, right? So just be aware of where you are. If a ladder is longer than maybe about 8 treads. That's when you get a partner, get a second person on one side of the ladder so that you can carry it with safety in mind. Okay, let's move on to chapter number 4. This is climbing ladders safely. And before we get into this chapter, this final chapter, I want to share with you some statistics, some numbers that are sobering here in the United States. And we don't have full statistics for in the UK or throughout Europe, but in the United States today, on a Wednesday, 2,000 people will go to the emergency room because of a ladder-related injury. And on average, 100 of those people will be permanently disabled. And there will be 1 fatality today because of a ladder-related accident. And that will happen again tomorrow and again on Friday. And on average, there's about 400 fatalities in America because of a ladder-related injury. And that's sobering, isn't it? Because it's a family. That's a daughter, that's a son, that's a family that is forever affected. So if you only listen to one part of this presentation, this is where I want your ears to perk up. What I want you to remember from today's workshop is that you never overreach on a ladder. The common thread that runs through most of those life-changing, life-ending injuries usually begin right here, with somebody making a choice or justifying overreaching, right? And we don't know if this gentleman is working on the 2nd story. We don't know if he's up on the 3rd floor. But if something goes wrong, his life could change pretty quick. Okay, so however you're taught to keep your belt buckle between the side rails, some people are taught that it's their shoulders between the side rails. And if you can't reach the work safely, then you simply come down, move the ladder, and climb back up. How long does that take? 60 seconds, 90 seconds, right? Even if it took 4 minutes, if you know that is the number one cause of some of those life-changing injuries, it's usually because people are overreaching, okay? So just make that choice now. Come down, move the ladder, climb back up. Okay, also 3 points of contact. When we're climbing, it's just a reminder that we have contact with the ladder with at least 1 hand and 2 feet, or 2 hands and 1 foot. So this isn't just a best practice. This is required that we hold on to the ladder as we climb up and down. Now, the last 5 words are quite instructive, right? It said, when we climb up and down. So let me just teach you this real quick. That we also understand that you need to get something done. When you get up to a height, we have tools, we have a need, we need to do the work. So keep your tools in your tool belt, have your hands available so that you can make contact with the ladder, and keep your balance forward as you climb. Okay. Once you get to your final destination, let's say this would be tall enough, this would be high enough, I'm on the 2nd tread here, take advantage of not only the bottom of your boots, but also the sides of your boots. So I'm making contact with the side of my boot and the bottom of my boot. And also, depending on the application, I could lean against the ladder. So my left knee and even my right thigh are making contact with the ladder. So I'm touching the ladder in 6 different places so that I can reach into my tool belt, take out my tool, and get the work done. So 3 points of contact is absolutely required when we climb up and down, but it's still a best practice. It's still a good idea when we're working from the ladder. Okay. And of course, there are some Americans that are going to make 3 points of contact whether they want to or not. Yeah, that's 3 points of contact. Now, on the way down, same rules apply. I need to have 3 points of contact as I climb down. And also be aware of your surroundings. Be aware how many rungs or how many treads are underneath you. If you think about, have you ever missed the bottom rung of a ladder? Many people have. In fact, that's the second leading cause of injury because of a ladder. People miss the bottom rung. They step off too early, and it could be a rolled ankle, it could be a damaged knee. I've heard of head injuries that result because people miss the bottom step. So just be aware of your surroundings as you climb down. Make sure that you make contact with that bottom rung. Now listen, you'll hear that the bottom rung of this ladder has a ground cue. This is an innovation that Little Giant created. Knowing that that's the second leading cause of ladder injury, Little Giant invented the ground cue so that that bottom rung makes an alert. I can hear it, I can feel it, and it makes a sound, and it has a small vibration to it so that the climber becomes conditioned that that bottom rung sounds different. And the next step is safely on the floor or the ground. So just be aware of your surroundings, and some of those innovations might help us be safe by the design of the product. Okay. Also, when we're climbing ladders, don't take items that don't belong. Some items are heavy, they're big, they're bulky, and those items they don't belong on ladders. So this is required, that we don't take items that are big or that might make us lose our balance. There's a lot going wrong in this video. We'll cut it right here. But yeah, we don't take those big items up the ladder with us. Also, that you face the ladder. Face the ladder when you climb. There's probably a better way this gentleman could have gotten the job done. We want to face the ladder when we climb, but it's still a good idea when we're working from the ladder. Face the ladder when you climb, required, and still a good idea when we're working from the ladder. And there are some products that actually help you face the ladder while you're doing the work as well. And let me show you a couple of those products. In fact, a couple of products that I'd love to show you in the last few minutes we're together. But I want to open this up for any questions and answers. This is live. This is dynamic. So if you have any questions, David, Kira, anybody that might have questions about anything that we might have taught or things that you run up against, is there any gray area in the work that you do that has to do with ladders or ladder safety? Any questions? If not, then I'd like to show you a couple of products that I think you might find some value in.
Yeah, just let you know, Kenyon, we just had the Little Giant Fortress land with us yesterday, so it'd be great to show that one to the crowd.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the products you may see in the background are also available. So if anybody, if any of the products that Kenyon might scope out on, if you have an interest on, I'm sure Kenyon will we'll show you.
Yeah, we'd love to do it. So definitely the King Combo. That's kind of the one of the crown jewels of our product line. Very popular product because it does get tempting to stand on a top rung. Some people might even choose to stand on the top cap, but being able to turn this into an extension ladder when I need, it's just a nice, lightweight, multi-purpose ladder. But that now I can use the top rung because it's no longer a step ladder. Now we're talking about a short, lightweight extension ladder. Especially in drop ceilings or attic access, that might be the right tool for the job. So the King Combo, in corners, on corners, great product. The Fortress, appreciate you bringing that one up, Chris. That the Fortress is one of those products that allows us to maintain points of contact in any direction and give us a more ergonomic position. See how big this platform is? So we're no longer standing on the rung or the tread of a ladder. Now we have this big, large platform, which gives us more balance, more control, and a lot less foot fatigue. We hear a lot of that buzzword in the industry now is the ergonomics of a product, and that also includes ladders or climbing equipment. But you'll notice that when I'm working up here on the platform, these one-way gates are protecting me 360 degrees. So I can turn and face my work in a more comfortable position with more balance and more control, 360 degrees. Really cool product. And then this large tool tray has a couple of magnetic trays, and a slot for just about everything that you might need. So you could load that thing up and be productive all day long. This is also compatible with a couple of new accessories called the loot box or the strap holder. Depending on which industry you're in, you could really customize that top cap to be exactly what you need with bins and boxes off to the side. If to step out, we would just take that one-way gate and pull that open. Again, face the ladder on the way down. This one also has the ground cue, field replaceable feet, and what I really like is how simple it is to fold. Just take this locking mechanism and pull it towards you, and the entire product folds up to be very slim. In fact, only 4 inches wide, and it weighs 33 pounds. So great product. It's called the Fortress, and it's one of our relatively new products here at Little Giant, and available in a couple of different sizes. This is the 4-tread model. It looks like it's taller than that, but we're talking about the height of the standing platform is 4 feet or 4 tread. If I'm standing at 4, that gives me a working height of about 10 to 10 and a half feet. And then we could get up to, what would it be, about 12 feet or 4 meters on that 6-tread model. So that's called the
One
4.
question I did have from one of my customers: what size are the feet on the Fortress?
What size are the feet?
Yeah, because they've got grating that they're actually working on.
Yeah,
So,
these are a little bit oversized. In fact, if I can just turn it this way and see if Paxton could zoom in on the feet, see how large they are. I can measure these real quick, and but you see how they're oversized. They're not just they're big and broad, and they have quite a bit of texture. If we could take just a second and measure those, I'd like to do that.
yeah,
I
great.
think I have
At least I
a,
can get back to them then. Isn't
you know, since I was in since I was in Florida, somebody moved my tape measure. Yeah, I usually have a tape measure out here, but now I don't.
it doesn't matter.
Okay, but yeah, that gives
There's always
you,
a tape measure thief somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah. Here we are. So it looks like that is roughly 3 inches wide by 2 1/4 deep. So what I would think that would be able to go over metal grating. We've tried to think of that very application for some of these products, like the safety cage is another product that we make with large feet. So if you need that guardrail system, if you like the idea of the Fortress, but you need something even taller or with even more of a guardrail system, you see that these one-way gates and that guardrail is just a little bit different. So that's called the safety cage. That's available in multiple sizes, being able to turn and face in any direction. We also make an adjustable version of that where the side rails will telescope so you can adjust the height of the safety cage. And we simply call that the adjustable safety cage. That can also be offset to work on stairs or in a theater, on a loading dock, places that a lift or setting scaffolding, just the time and the expense. This way you can just be more convenient, but still be safe in the work that you do. Speaking of oversized feet, one of the products that I love that has these oversized feet is called the Jumbo Step. And here it is in the GRP, glass reinforced plastic or fiberglass. You see how large these feet are. They're big so that going over metal grating, that's one of the reasons that we made those oversized feet, is for that very purpose. Might give you some more versatility on where you can place the ladder. Also, the treads are large. These are 13.5 inches wide and 8.5 inches deep. So every tread feels like a platform. It supports almost my entire foot, but they're also staggered, so it feels more like climbing a flight of stairs. This tread, to go from this tread to this tread, is only 9 inches to go from one to the next. And the fact that they don't overlap gives me a much more ergonomic or comfortable position. And you can see that I can maintain 3 points of contact because with the safety rail in place, now I'm facing the ladder, I'm facing the work, I'm maintaining 3 points of contact because both feet are engaged, but also both legs are engaged, leaning against the safety rail so that I can do the work with my hands. If you don't need that safety rail, it can also be unlocked. Pretty easy to unlock that and fold that flush up against those back legs. And we often use this as a staircase, maybe getting into the back of a truck or a lorry. Or did I use that word right? A lorry? That would be a bigger, like a box truck or a van. Or we could use this against a loading dock, use it like a flight of stairs. And then also when it's stored, the whole product folds up to be about 4 inches wide and only weighs 18 pounds. So great product. These are also rated for that 150 kg rating. That's called the Jumbo Step in the 3-tread model in this GRP material. Great product for professionals.
I don't know if you can see Kenyon, but there's a question from David regarding tying off a ladder for moving. So I'm just quickly reading it now. I don't know if you can see it at all.
I can't.
If I secure the ladder, for example, by tying it to prevent it from moving, can I use the steps as an anchor point when using a harness, personal fall arrest?
Yeah, we wouldn't use the rungs or the treads for an anchor point. You would need to choose an anchor point. Those anchor points actually carry a whole different weight rating because they refer to the dynamic force. Because David, your body has a particular weight, but when you travel at a distance, so when you start to fall, your weight is totally different. So your dynamic weight, we need to take that into account when we think of anchor points, and ladders just aren't built for that kind of dynamic force. So refer to fall protection, and they're usually engineered either into ceilings or other products, but ladders are not designed to tie off onto. Good question though, that's a great question. And that's why we feel like maybe the Fortress or the safety cage would be a great product because these kind of products being able to be surrounded by a guardrail system would be a safer alternative. And then of course the multi-purpose ladder, the ladder that we're really known for, Little Giant, is the category that we invented in the early 70s is the multi-purpose ladder. But just so that you know, this is the one that meets and exceeds those EN 131 ratings because of that side tip stability. You can see that these outriggers down here at the bottom, the EN 131 standards have a very strict height to width ratio. And this gives you the width at the bottom or that additional side tip stability so that when we're working at heights, whether the ladder's in the A-frame position, regardless of which size, remember that we can unlock those rapid locks and adjust it to be an even taller step ladder. Remember, this is the ladder that works on stairs or unlevel terrain. So those tricky situations that other step ladders just don't do for you. That's what Little Giant has done for years and years. But also as an extension ladder. Rotates and locks into place. So it still carries that 150 kg rating in the extension ladder position and is adjustable also in 1 foot increments, both up and down. The wide flare at the top for stability, but that extra wide width down here at the bottom so that it can meet those strict EN 131 standards. So this is the velocity, and one of the things that I really like about this is that it's relatively lightweight for as tall and as strong as it is, but being able to store this in your vehicle, in a small sprint van or even in a car, this is all you would need is just 4.5 feet, lightweight, small package, and if you didn't want to carry it, it even has wheels so that you can cart it this way with its wheels. So this is the velocity, EN velocity, and this is it in the Model 17, or you might refer to it as a 4x4. This is also available in other sizes, a 5x5, what we refer to as a Model 22. And do you guys, do you also have the bigger, the Model 26 or the 6x6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay,
tend to
cool.
have the 6 rungs as well.
Yeah.
Good. So that's the velocity. We just wanted to make you aware. Sometimes we take it for granted because this has been our life for years and years. But just so that you're aware that the multi-purpose ladder, and this is it in the aluminum, the fiberglass or the glass fiber version, we call the Conquest GRP, or the all-terrain with the all-terrain legs. So remember, the benefit of fiberglass is that you're working around electricity. You need that GRP material. Hey,
That's great. Thanks so much, Kenyon.
sure. Any other questions in the chat, or is there anything, Chris or Jay, that you'd like to refer? I know that we're coming up on our time, but anything else that you'd like to discuss?
No, that's lovely. Thank you. At least I can get back to my customer with the feet size now. And if their grating's any larger than that, wow, good luck.
Well, we're always happy to be with you guys. Thank you very much. So let me thank Chris and Jay and TB Davies. Thank you guys for putting this together. We really appreciate it. And then also to Paxton back in the office. Thanks, Paxton.
Thanks, Paxton.
Great as always. Thank you very much. All right. Well, everybody, be safe out there. And again, remember to be fully certified, to be fully trained. What we've done today is a workshop, some reminders, some best practices, some things that you should be doing when you're working at heights. But just remember that to be fully certified, go to the Ladder Association's website. That's ladderassociation.uk, and then you can take those courses there to be fully certified. Okay?
Thanks so much, Kenyon. Thanks all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for attending.
Cheers now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.